15 extinct animals that may actually still be alive. Hello, lovely YouTube family. Welcome back to Curiosity Lounge. Before we start, I would want you to hit that red subscribe button so that you never miss out on any of our videos. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at 15 extinct animals that might be alive. Stay tuned and watch the video right to the end. Ivory-billed woodpecker. This beautiful large woodpecker has been believed to be extinct for decades until a man walking through a swamp forest in Arkansas took a picture of one. It had been 73 years since the last verified picture of the bird was taken. Though this new image cannot be verified as an ivory-billed woodpecker, there are enough hints to lead conservationists to believe that there may be more around the area. They were considered to be carnivorous as they relied mainly on insects for their diet. The Chicoan peccary. Chicoan peccaries were originally found as fossils in 1930. They are the largest of the peccaries, distinguishable from others by the white hairs around their mouths, a stripe across their shoulders, and a dark stripe across their backs. They tend to travel in groups. When frightened, they raise the hairs on their backs and spray a fluid from their glands that will tell other peccaries to stay together. They have a lot of pig-like features. In 1971, it was discovered that groups of them were hiding in Bolivia, Argentina, and Paraguay in the Gran Chaco region. The native people of the area had been aware of their existence the whole time. New Caledonian crested gecko. Having once been found in the South Province of New Caledonia, the crested gecko was thought to be extinct for ages. Then, in 1994, they suddenly reappeared. Crested geckos grow to a total length of 20 centimeters for both males and females. The crested gecko has tiny projections around its eyes that look like eyelashes. They have a crest that runs from the edge of each eye all the way back to the tail. As crested geckos do not have eyelids, they lick their eyes to keep them wet. Since their rediscovery, they have made an unbelievable comeback. Laotian rock rat. The Laotian rock rat, also known as a rat squirrel due to its thick furry tail, was at one time considered to be a separate breed from other rats. It was referred to as a living fossil with some remains dating back 11 million years. These animals live in spaces between karst limestone falls and boulders on hillsides. As they are rarely seen in daylight, they are believed to be nocturnal. They are herbivores, mostly eating grass, seeds, and leaves. Female Laotian rock rats only give birth to one baby per cycle. The animal was rediscovered in 1996 when its meat was found in a local meat market. Several other specimens have been found since then, making scientists believe that there may be far more Laotian rock rats than were thought. New Holland mouse. The New Holland mouse was first discovered in 1843, although it was later believed to be extinct for over 100 years. The New Holland mouse was rediscovered in 1967 in a national park outside Sydney, Australia. These creatures can only be found in Australian states of Queensland, Tasmania, New South Wales, and Victoria. New Holland mice from Tasmania have slightly heavier body weights. Strangely enough, New Holland mouse populations tend to rise a few years after wildfire outbreaks. Like all mice, these animals are omnivorous. Due to habitat loss, wildfires, fungus, and more, the New Holland mouse population is expected to decline by about 10% over the next decade. Woolly mammoth. In 1920, a Frenchman told a fantastic story of seeing what certainly sounded like a mammoth in Siberia. It was a huge elephant with big white tusks that were very curved. Its hair was a dark chestnut color as far as I could see. It had fairly large hair on the hindquarters, but it seemed shorter in the front. I must say, I had no idea there were such big elephants. A second beast was around. It seemed to be at least as big as the first. As late as 1948, frozen mammoths were discovered with meat still fresh. Passenger pigeon. Nowadays, someone occasionally sees a bird that looks a lot like a passenger pigeon. Small flocks of passenger pigeons are sometimes seen in their old nesting areas, mostly around the Ozark Mountains. Besides, scientists are contemplating bringing the passenger pigeon back to life through cloning. Tasmanian tiger. The Tasmanian tigers were hunted for being a threat to livestock. Loss of habitat didn't help much. Settlers will do that to animals. The Tasmanian tiger officially died off in 1936. However, reported sightings are fairly common. As far as extinct animals go, they've been spotted in Tasmania and mainland Australia. Although none of the sightings are scientifically confirmed, you'll be happy to know that a few of the sightings were by sober people. There are almost a dozen more sightings recently. Baji, the Yangtze River dolphin. The Baji were dolphins found exclusively in the Yangtze River. This dolphin were once plentiful but have been doomed by the construction of the Three Gorges Dam and the increased boat traffic. The Baiji were declared extinct in 2006, but when one was spotted a mere year later, a team of scholars led by scientist Wang Ding confirmed the sighting. That's positive news for the survival of the species. Unfortunately, there's only been that single sighting. Japanese wolf. There are actually two types of Japanese wolf, the Honshu wolf and the Hokkaido wolf. The Japanese wolf met its demise in the same way that many other animals did, at the hands of an American for being a pest to livestock. A man named Edwin Dunn, hired by the Japanese, dropped a little strychnine and greatly facilitated their downfall. The Honshu died off in 1905 and the Hokkaido in 1889. Despite being dead, a Japanese wolf managed to turn up in 1910 and the 1930s, and again in the 1950s. If that wasn't enough, there have also been sightings in the 1990s. One theory is that the animals seen and heard howling are actually a wolf-dog hybrid. Eastern cougar. The eastern cougar was declared extinct in 2011, which is rather odd considering the enormous amount of sightings. There are sightings particularly every East Coast state, and of course sightings after the 2011 declaration. There are entire websites dedicated to state-specific sightings. People of New Hampshire saw and photographed a cougar that officially wasn't there. There are also footprints, scat, fur, all the things you'd expect from a non-extinct animal. The eastern cougar doesn't seem to be too extinct at all. Japanese river otter. The Japanese river otters become less common in the 1930s. By the time the 1970s rolled around, they were flat out rare. Declared extinct in 2012, it took, you guessed it, a year for one to be sighted again. Sightings are surprisingly common. Most of these sightings are unofficial, however. Getting a sighting recognized as official isn't a simple thing. Actual capture of the animal is usually required. Scientists like to point out that most of the recently seen otters were spotted in areas that wouldn't typically be, like polluted rivers. But wouldn't an animal go where the easy food or garbage is? Especially if its numbers are dwindling. Mexican grizzly bear. The Mexican grizzly bear ranged from Mexico to as far north as Colorado. It was widely believed that the last was killed in Mexico in 1960. They were officially declared extinct in 1964. Yet Mexican grizzlies continue to be spotted. The North American grizzly is found much further north, but southern Colorado has a few credible sightings. There is an uptick in sightings of grizzlies in the former Mexican grizzly range. There are definitely grizzlies in those parts. The only question is whether they're Mexican grizzlies. Mastodon. The mastodons have been extinct for 11,000 years. One theory is that they died off due to tuberculosis. Yet according to one fantastic report, they have been seen as recently as 500 years ago. In the 1560s, an Englishman named David Ingram ventured to the Americas. He walked over 3,218 kilometers in what is now the United States. He told fantastic tales of visiting Native Americans with gold jewelry and hairy elephants. That's right, he tells of mastodons, thousands of years after they allegedly went the way of the dodo. It would be easy to dismiss his account, but he also accurately described the buffalo and the general topography of the lands he said he visited. Sure, there are unconfirmed reports of mastodon sightings floating around the internet, even in our times. However, it is curious that David Ingram managed to accurately describe a mastodon. He had no reason to think they lived in the Americas, nor did he know exactly what he was seeing at the time. Javan tiger. The Javan tiger was found on the Indonesian island of Java. Fittingly enough, hunting is the main reason why the Javan tigers died off. When you're on an island and you're being hunted, there's only so far you can go. The last official sighting of the animal occurred in 1976. However, they were allegedly captured throughout the 1980s. An exhaustive search in the mid-1990s led to a 1994 declaration that the Javan tigers were extinct, until someone saw them a year later. In 1995, a Javan forester accidentally discovered a group of Javan tigers. Sightings continued throughout the first decade of the 2000s. The Miro Bitiri National Park, the site of the last confirmed sighting, seems to be the most likely spot for their survival. Activist Wayu Giriprasetio is still finding evidence of the tiger, from hair to scat. He firmly believes the Javan tiger is alive. Of all the extinct animals, the Javan tiger is probably the most likely to still be around. That's all for today. I hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button. and subscribe to the channel so that you never miss any amazing videos from us.